Shaftesbury's Mayor says she's finding out about major decisions affecting our town through Alfred rather than Dorset Council, and it's embarrassing for the town hall. This time it concerns a significant change to the Churchill retirement housing development on Christy's Lane, and ironically the discussion came at the end of a debate about a framework for mutual respect and communication between County Hall and our town hall and the parishes. As you may have heard on Alfred, Churchill have switched their 41-flat project, currently being constructed, to social housing in partnership with Housing 21. They're the not-for-profit that already provide 19 apartments at John Shoebridge Court on Bleak Street. Churchill's project, which was going to complement their existing privately owned apartment at Hardy Lodge in Coppice Street, has been discussed frequently by Shaftesbury Town councillors.
The Town Council and Motcombe Parish Council objected to building retirement homes on land between the Lidl car park and Tesco's petrol station, as they didn't think it was an appropriate site for elderly residents and said it involved a long walk to town centre facilities. Dorset Council didn't determine the application. It went past the deadline date, which gave Churchill the power to go straight to the planning inspector. He dismissed the objections, considered the Christy's Lane site appropriate, and then addressed compensation for the impact of the building on local infrastructure, determining the so-called Section 106 payment. Because Churchill apartments are privately owned, with residents paying an additional fee to share facilities, it is difficult to provide a proportion of affordable housing within those developments. The inspector looked at where Shaftesbury's project Section 106 payments could be directed and discussed potential recipients, including healthcare, the library and the Lido pool. But Dorset Council put forward an affordable housing scheme in Gillingham for the payment of over £200,000. When that emerged, it upset some locals, particularly supporters of our open-air pool. The Town Council began dialogue with Dorset Council about the process, but that discussion is now redundant because the whole development will be regarded as a social gain, as Dorset Council can help determine which locals aged over 55 meeting their housing criteria could be considered for occupancy.
So, back to the February Shaftesbury Town Council full council meeting. And according to Mayor Virginia Edwin-Jones, Dorset Council had known about the change for some time, but hadn't informed Shaftesbury.
We were just absolutely stupefied that we knew nothing about it.
Virginia says Dorset Councillor Jack Jeans was informed, but told to keep it under his hat.
He was told that it was strictly confidential and Dorset Council didn't want it to be communicated because it hadn't been finalised. So we have no idea.
Perhaps Housing 21 or Churchill didn't get that memo, or perhaps they don't care what Dorset Council thinks. Both have featured the Shaftesbury plans in articles and specialist social housing press, along with a wider rollout of this collaboration in other towns like Banbury and Andover.
The managing of communication so that we are not embarrassed by finding out second-hand through other means, and this is the second time this has happened recently.
Perhaps this was even more awkward because this discussion happened following a town council debate prompted by the association that represents Dorset's 160 or so parish or town councils, the DAPTC. They're consulting on a framework of understanding between County Hall and town and parish councils. It's all to do with Dorset Council trying to hand over some of its services to local communities. Devolution. Ironically, this proposed framework is all about mutual respect, communication and collaboration.
Dorset Council do not, to my mind, think clearly about the impact of making decisions and not immediately notifying the respective council, because they're not thinking about what we have to deal with here and how it looks to our residents that we are not part of the... So in terms of communication.
Councillors watched a video on this proposed framework of understanding, which has an unfortunate name.
The SAW aims to foster better working relationships.
The SAW.
Enhance democratic representation.
The name appeared to entertain Councillor Lester Dibbin.
Does it come with a jar of cream?
A remark that didn't appear to entertain the Mayor. There's no point us going into detail about what's been proposed here because it's just a proposal. It's also quite technical and, to be honest, unless you're really into local council backroom policies, it's dull as ditch water. But Councillor Lester Dibbin doesn't appear to be a fan of following this process aimed to strengthen relationships between the Town Hall and County Hall.
Mutual respect. We need to see it. I'll give you an example. It's been 2 years trying to get somebody to look at the butts and the water system over at Castle Hill. 2 long years. Last week on Monday, we finally got a highways officer out there. And within 5 minutes, when I was talking to him about, he'd agreed what to do to sort it all out. So 2 years wasted because no one will come out and talk to you. You get them on site and it's immediately sorted out. This, to me, is a top down, and this is about devolution. That's what this is about. It's about preparing you so that they can talk to you in a way that whatever, in order to get rid of those services they can't afford to run, that they want us to pay for. And I look forward to a meeting where we talk about what we can take on in devolution and how we'd like to do it before we go anywhere near a document like this.